Perfect. Alrighty.
All right, today is January 25th, 2023. I am here with John Wilson. We are kicking off what will soon be your favorite podcast called The Red Shirts.
What
Just a couple of guys that, we can talk ball. We like to watch sports. We played at a decently high level, but couldn't quite cut it. So we're here to brokered the difference between the guys on the big screen that just say random things and the reporters that are just tweeting things just to get their name out there. So, John, thank you for joining me today. How you feeling about this adventure that we got going on?
Yeah, pleasure to be here, man. Awesome. This is gonna be great.
We've
Can't
talked
wait.
about it for a while, so I'm glad that we're finally
Well,
getting it off we're getting the plane off of the runway here. About
hey,
damn time.
hey, since before the redshirt days.
Yeah, we have been saying we needed an opportunity to just speak to people and get our voice out there. That's true. So, you know what? It's let's see. What was that? I've known you since like 2011, 2010ish. So, you
Past
know,
the decade mark,
a,
10-year
a long
anniversary.
a dream a long time in the making, baby, but we're making it happen finally. But heck, you know what? We're here to talk about what's going on in the world. So let's get started. I think the biggest thing for you and I, being a couple of former Bucks, there is something big going on in Boulder. What do you have to say about that, Big J?
Oh yeah, I mean, excited. Finally feeling the top 25 program already, even though back to what we were back in the day, even though a lot of people don't know that. One of the winningest programs in the country. So I think Deion's gonna get us back there and might even take us into that top 10.
Well, all right, so I do have a question though. Is he sticking around for a while, you think? Or is it gonna be kind of one of those, this is his stop and then he heads off somewhere else?
I think that's tough to tell.
Yeah. I
I
don't
like
I
I like it at least 3 to 5. Like I'm confident in that range, but beyond that, I really think that's up to him. I think if he wants to create that Nick Saban dynasty, that's possible here. I think with his coaching skills, especially.
have you seen any of like the videos of him just out and about in Boulder, and he went to Vail like this past weekend? He seems to absolutely love Colorado. So I
And
kind of wonder if it could kind of turn into something where he just decides this is where I make my home from now on, and I want to be the guy that we know he's black and red from his branding and whatnot, but I think he's really into that black and gold now.
yeah, man, I think he's a natural fit here. He looks good. He looks good in those
It,
beanies, those hoodies.
and there's something about how, and I wouldn't say CU has had swagger in the past, but CU has always had a little. There's always something about him. Even when you watch the documentaries about McCartney in those days, there was always, they always kind of had that not bad guy mentality, but they were getting the kids from Southern California that nobody really wanted, the kids from Texas that nobody really wanted, and it's almost like it fits with Deion with kind of that like I wouldn't say rugged, but kind of mysterious and a little bit more different of recruits. But I mean, he's getting everyone in the country coming through the door right now, obviously.
I think it's that edge. That's something
And,
that makes
and,
you
and
different,
there's something
separates you
about
from
the
the
connection
rest.
between an edge and a savviness, and it's just, it really is that look good, feel good, pay good kind of quote that he has. And it's amazing. I love his office. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks freaking fantastic. He has all of his quotes just posted all over the walls. It's hilarious. But speaking of busts, though, we got two guys that we very good friends with. That they're one is, unfortunately, he's injured and can't play in the AFC Championship game. Cheeto, I'm sorry for your knee, but we got another man, Josh Tupou. He's been playing very, very well for the Bengals. So I guess we'll lead that into it. Who do you got in the AFC Championship game? Bengals, Chiefs, baby.
I'm riding with the Bengals. I don't think it's really a competition this game. I think it's
Ah,
going to be pretty
I
easy. I don't
don't
think
know who I'm going with. I haven't decided yet.
does Mahomes play? That's the question.
I think Mahomes is playing, but I don't know what the line was when it first started, but I know it flipped because now since he's -1. which I thought at first when the line first came out, Kansas City was favored. But I know Mahomes is going to play, but I just don't know how you play on an ankle that is that sprained. Like it was at the point even in the game when you know he went back and got shot up and got a
Oh
Tortorella
yeah.
shot.
Oh,
And
for sure.
even during the game, he was hopping and hobbling on one foot. So how do you in I guess they have they have the resources to help rehab, but you can't do that in a week. Like in the adrenaline it's worn off. I mean, obviously it'll be there for the game again, but that's like an in the moment kind of bang bang thing.
Yeah, and I think yeah, like you said, they'll probably give him those cortisone shots. Like it's not like a low ankle sprain. That was a high ankle sprain. It's not easy to keep going after that.
I thought his ankle got snapped in half. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
looked really bad.
yeah. What a typical most players you don't see come back 4 to 6 weeks
Oh
if
yeah,
if like that's
if
low
that,
end.
I mean, and at that point, then you're just hoping that they don't end up rolling it again or something like that because that always happens.
Or
But
a
I mean
broken
that
leg.
I I just am fascinated with the AFC right now because you have, I mean, Herbert gets talked about a lot, but then you still have Jackson, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert. Who else do we have? I mean, Russ can ever pull it out. We'll see. Probably not, but is what it is. But I'm just I'm fascinated with how these rivalries are going to go for years down the line because we are seeing now the changing of the guard, and I'm sure you've seen all the comparisons that people are making now with the Mahomes is Manning and Burrow is Brady because Mahomes is can't beat Burrow. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
I mean, it's like comparisons are really rivaling up. I think it's pretty easy to say that's probably the best comparison we've seen in a long time between those two, at least in competition. But honestly, I'm more concerned after that last loss last week versus the Buffaloes. What about Josh Allen? Who we comparing to him? Where's he in this equation?
ooh, yeah, Josh Allen. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, because he is. I feel like every year we kind of. I feel like we put him in a Herbert like to an extent where it's we talk about him very highly, but yet where are the results? It
Yep.
and being Colorado guys, I think we got to see a guy in the AFC West that put up numbers every year and then get to the playoffs and no results. Bless his soul, Philip Rivers. You're a great man, but I think it might be a similar comparison.
My one thing though, like I will say though, he had LT behind him the whole time in
True.
San Diego. So
Well, I mean,
who's he had here? Who's Josh Allen had?
Allen doesn't. That's true. Allen doesn't
That's the
have
one. That's the
they
one
don't have a
difference.
running game, but I don't think it's a very good look when your number one player on offense is coming over to you on the sideline and throwing up his hands, doing one of these. And Stephon Diggs turns 30 this year, and Josh Allen's contract increases by 150%. That's what the cap hit is.
Yeah.
So that's a tough look for Buffalo because it's Buffalo's putting themselves in the situation that Carolina was in. Yeah, you have a great quarterback that can do everything, but you don't have any weapons around him to help him.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, I found that interesting. The GM was talking about that. I think I saw today or the other day, bringing that up actually about how since he has a pretty open window with their salary cap, just because they just got Jamar and Burrow just recently.
And then T Higgins is still on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
I mean they have those three on rookie deals. I think for another 2 years, right? 1 or 2 years, and then Joe Mixon. I mean, you watch some of those clips. That team, they love each other. They love to play together. Like you see Joe Mixon running down the line, like he doesn't want to leave there. I think a lot of those guys, and I think it goes back to a lot of what this guy does in the locker room and how he handles himself. They want to play. They want to play in Cincy. They want to be there, and
Oh,
they
for sure.
want to stay as like a cohesive unit, which I think is very interesting. But at the same time, the cool thing about that is, I think when you look at the NFC, I think both of the teams between the Eagles and the Niners, I think they have a very similar kind of feel. And not that the Chiefs aren't, rally around you kind of team. But I feel like they're more kind of finesse, and they have the labels and this and that, and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. But like I feel like when you look at even the Niners and the Eagles, it almost reminds you of your typical maybe high school football team where everyone is a unit and everyone is working together. It doesn't feel like oh, we're all getting paid millions of dollars to go play a game. They look at it, I think, as they're having a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, you look at George Kittle, he freaking runs people over, and then he just looks up at the sky cam and he's just laughing and giggling. Like, how could you not want to like be in the locker room with a guy like that and want to play for someone like that?
Hey, maybe that comes with that experience of, like, you notice the teams that are far in the playoffs, they all have that kind of chemistry. They're
Mm-hmm.
all working together, having fun, and the teams that are fighting on the sidelines are the teams that are also not really focused on that Super Bowl ring, and the teams like
Exactly.
Denver
And I think
Broncos.
it's there's I think the biggest point to that is though the teams where the Final Four now, they understand that winning and culture is bigger than my individual BS of whatever could be going on, either in the building or outside of the building. They only care about making sure that they play that last game in February.
Oh yeah, yep.
But
And
I mean,
that's
who
got to be
who
the goal.
I really don't. Hands up, I cannot pick the NFC game. I know I got the AFC figured out, but NFC, Kyle Shanahan's play calling, I love the Niners. I love how they play. I mean, they got more weapons than probably anyone, and they don't even unleash them, I don't think, in the way that they could. I mean, you could really actually make Debo an actual wide receiver and not make Christian have to play running back half of the time. You could, let Christian just be your running back. We saw what he did in Carolina, setting all those records. It's like, sure, but and then they have George Kittle, they have Brandon Ayuk. But
Yeah,
can Purdy continue it, dude? I don't know. It's
but
so interesting to me.
hasn't he been the best quarterback in the league since he
He's
started? Like,
7-0 since he started, and
but even statistically,
his passer rating is off the charts. And Shanahan does a great job of putting him in positions where it's quick reads, maybe one or two reads, but it's balls out quick, which it helps that they have a great offensive line. But I mean, the play calling there is, I mean, he hasn't made a bad read, it doesn't seem, since he's became the starting quarterback. And if you're Trey Lance, you're sitting there like, well, I do not have a job anymore. And
Carolina looks pretty good.
right. And I saw something and people were talking about, oh, Tom Brady might go to San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if I'm San Francisco, I wouldn't even waste, like, I know he's a hometown kid. Like, I would, if Purdy takes you to the Super Bowl, you give him the keys to the car because he can run your offense. You're not going to lose. You have Christian signed under contract for a couple of years. You have Debo signed. You're going to re-sign Kittle. You're not going to let Trent Williams walk. Your defense is, I mean, that's the one thing that I think the Eagles are going to have problems with is I have not seen a middle linebacker like Fred Warner in a while. That dude can do it all.
But don't disrespect Jalen Hurts though. He's a pretty gifted quarterback. He can make plays happen.
Well, and that's also,
That's he's the it factor for the Philly. He's
that's
that it
also the
factor.
thing is Jalen is, I think a lot of people, if you haven't watched the Eagles very much or you haven't really I guess kind of looked into his stats, you would just kind of go back to Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts running the ball a lot because they're a physical team that, I mean, they have a great downhill running game, but it's not like he's just tucking and running every time there's pressure. He has been threading the needle this year. I have been very impressed with his ability to move the ball downfield. I mean, and their defense, they fly around. They don't have a lot of big names. I mean, they have Darius Slay, who I think is one of the better DBs in the league, but I mean, I can't really name another big name that's on their defense. But
Yeah.
they play fast and they fly downhill.
Hey, and there's something special about them. I mean, go back to just their record to start the season. It was like everyone's like, Philly? Like, what?
Well, also
Good, Philly didn't believe
the
that.
one thing you gotta also remember is who has probably grimiest, grittiest, just most atrocious fans in the entire league. The Eagles or
Between the I was just
Philadelphia
saying,
fans.
yeah, it's Pennsylvania between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
It's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's one of the, like I would like I can't imagine like what it's gonna be like wherever their hotel is. I guarantee you, there's gonna be people outside of it all night long. Just meh, 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 meh. They used to do that with the Broncos when they used to have the opposing teams in the playoffs. They'd stay at that Turntable Studios when it was still a hotel, and the fans would just sit out there all night long, just honking their horns, and they would never let them sleep. And I'm like, that's freaking hilarious.
That's awesome.
But I mean, all right. So what's that one? It's Phillies -2.5. So all right, let's do the red shirt parlay here. I'm gonna lock it in. I'm gonna take. All right, so we're gonna do them all together. So I'm taking Cincy minus 1. I mean, I don't even take a money line.
Yeah.
Let's take I think I'm gonna take Philly, dude. I think I'm gonna take Philly -2.5.
I like Philly -2.5.
And I think I'm gonna take the over in the Cincy game, and I think I'm gonna take the under in the Philly game.
I like points. Always like
Points,
points.
I know,
I
points,
never
points,
go under.
points, but
Points,
come
points,
on, man.
points. You know,
I
I
just
never go
don't
the under.
I just
No one
feel
wants to
like
see that, and that's how they get you.
46.5 though for Philly and San Fran. I feel like it could be like a 13-10 game. I feel like there's going to be a
What's
lot of
weather?
defense and a lot of
What's weather?
it looks like both of
That's the
them
question.
are right around 35 degrees and clear.
Yeah, no, I'm points, points, points.
All right. Well, all right. Well, I'll put a question mark on that one for the under, and we'll go from there. All right, but let's see. Next up, what do we got? So speaking of football here in Denver, what are the Broncos gonna do?
Close up shop.
Close up shop and just give up? Like it's I mean, after last year, absolutely abysmal, but
What's not a question mark on that team? The ownership, the coaches, the GMs, the players, the quarterback, which some of that's not new, but even the stadium's in question now. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, I just love how the biggest announcement the Broncos make like all year, like their claim to fame this year was like, oh, we redid our field in December for $400,000 because it was disgusting and we, player safety. So we wanted to make sure it was like redone. It's like, can we maybe like win a couple games or something?
Hey, it's hey, going back to Josh Allen, we could have drafted him instead of Bradley Chubb, but once again, horrible decisions for drafting every year since what? Who's the best? Who's the last guy we drafted that was good in the first round? I mean, Surtain was
Patrick Surtain, but you could have gotten a couple other guys ahead of him too. You could have. Who did? There was someone we could have gotten. I'll look it up and we can talk about it next week. But
yeah.
There was someone I know for sure. I'll take a note on that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, and then you look at our receivers who were supposed to be so fantastic. And you know me, I'm a huge advocate of Nick Saban, everything he does, everything Alabama does. But Jerry Jeudy, you either show up or you're non-existent. And you had a better year this year, but for us to draft you in the first round with the expectations that we had, you have not. I mean, Stephon Diggs was drafted in what, the third round, I believe, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a first round receiver, like you gotta produce. And to be honest, like you look at someone like Jamar Chase, that's someone who he's not like, oh, like I didn't get the ball, but it's I have the ball. I'm throwing this dude off of me, like making my own plays. I'm not letting anyone else dictate how I go about my business here.
He wants the ball. It doesn't seem like Jeudy wants the ball. I'm gonna be honest.
Like Jeudy seems like he just wants to do his little Instagram running routes, like doing all the little like stupid
Look good running.
like yeah, it's like cool, dude. Like if you want to do that, then freaking just run post all game long, and we'll just throw it underneath the tight end because
Well, no, that's
also
where they
half the
keep
time
Sutton.
he doesn't. Also,
That's
half
where
the
they
time,
keep Sutton. They
yeah.
don't throw him over
Well,
top anymore.
but Sutton, we don't even let him go deep.
No,
It's almost like we were like, oh, you were hurt last year, so we're just gonna baby you all season.
three
It's like,
yard in.
yeah, it's like throw the ball downfield to the guy. Look at his highlights. All of his big catches are him jumping over people, like ripping the ball from them. He's a 6'4", like 220-pound, like he's a baby Megatron. Let the
Best
man go
receivers in
up.
there. Yeah, one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, and I
Utilized.
mean, it's like Russell. You just don't want to. We just want to just keep throwing 2-yard cross routes to our tight ends. Like no, and then have you seen? They said that the Broncos might be one of the front runners for Saquon Barkley, but it's like we have Javonte Williams.
Russ and Sark or Barkley the best combo together though? I don't know who's the running back that really fits. That's not really Russ's style with running backs. If you look
I
back on
know
his,
it's like if Russ had like a Christian, then I think you're good. But like Saquon can be that receiving back, but I think Saquon is like I also want to tote the rock, 20 plus times a game and just take it from behind center.
yeah,
He doesn't necessarily want to be flexing out every single time and catching flat routes or screen passes, which maybe I'm wrong, but because he is one of those guys who you get him in open space and it could be game over quick.
yeah. I mean, I'm at this point. I don't know if I want. I'd rather go ahead and draft a running back. Go start young if you're going to do
I mean,
that.
we still have Javante though. He was good
Exactly.
until he tore his ACL.
I mean, just draft young. Don't worry about signing another old running back. Like it's
Well, and
just
that's the thing
the
is
wear and
running
tear.
backs. It's one of those positions that
Look at
you
Zeke.
it's so hit
Career
or miss. It's so hit or miss, and you're gonna plateau, and then
unless
it's
you're
a
AP.
well, yeah, unless you're AP. Well, and that's the thing I think with even like the Bengals, kind of like we were talking about with Joe Mixon, how he's just so comfortable and so happy there. They don't have to ever worry about like paying him really or drafting someone new or wasting because they know that like he will be the staple there and he will he's happy there, which is I mean kind of rare, but it's is what it is. I don't know. I hope we go after at least. I mean, I know we apparently aren't going to get Sean Payton, so we're going to look towards D'Amico Ryans. But it just sucks that we're going after a coach that's still in the playoffs. So by the time the playoffs are over, when their season is over, every other coach and every other team is already, they're filling their slots, they're doing their thing, and then you're kind of like scrambling. I feel like last minute to like close a deal.
And I feel like we're just going around a carousel each year with the Broncos, and yeah, and I feel like this conversation. When's the last time we haven't had a different conversation than this for the Broncos? Like it's the same thing.
It's always about the coach
drafting, who they're going to hire for head coach, who's going to be our quarterback. The same three things, and nothing's changed. Like
yeah, that's a good point. Well, and I think it's interesting. I mean, you got D'Amico Ryans, I guess, is the favorite as of now, right? But if you look at the playoffs, every single team that's left in it is a defense or an offensive minded coach. The only team that didn't have a defensive minded head coach was the Bills. And how did that defense do? They got freaking exposed. Yeah. Nice job, Leslie Frazier. But like Sean McDermott was the only head coach that had a defensive background left in the playoffs, I want to say. Because I'm pretty sure Dable's offense, they got eliminated. I know Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, or not Doug Peterson. I mean, even Doug Peterson was an offensive-minded guy when they got knocked out by the Chiefs. It's like, you got to get someone in here that isn't afraid to, and it even bothers me with like Russell because it's like, bro, you have your own meeting room, your own physicians, your own chiropractors, like you do film study by yourself. What value are you bringing to the team? Like, it's not like And it's not like he shows up on Sunday and he's like some, stud deliberate, we're putting it on the money every single time where it's like, okay, yeah, you can hang out in your own little cubicle by yourself. It's like, no, maybe we should be doing a few more interactive things with the rest of the guys and making it so we're on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But it's like with Russell, it's like putting them on a parlay for and having like plus 20,000 odds, and you're like, I'm just gonna let it ride. You know,
Yep.
that's what it
Well,
feels
and
like.
the sad thing is I wish Russell was
Unintended.
I wish he could figure it out because I mean he was one of those guys that I was thinking he might trot off into the Hall of Fame as a Bronco if he could pull out a championship here or something like that because he already has one. He's it's but I don't know. It's sad, but it also sucks that another hometown guy didn't get to trot into the Hall of Fame this year.
Who's that?
The Todd father, you know better than anyone.
I don't know. I'm a little disappointed about that one. Tough to hear, but he's still got another chance. He's still got 4 more years.
He has one.
Yeah, four.
Yeah.
Four.
Oh,
Yeah.
he still has four. Okay.
Yep. The
Well,
only one.
and he could still get the Fred McGriff rule too, right?
Yeah, I'm still confused
I don't
about that one.
understand that exactly, but it's
I
like
think
what,
it's
like
just
4 years after you're done, then like
yeah.
a committee can vote you in for some reason, even though the committee can vote you in
I
during
think
your Hall of Fame process.
that's how they're going to get Clemens, Bond, Sosa, and just to
Mm.
appease the
Oh,
fans,
okay.
whoever, whichever in.
I, okay. So we'll get to Todd in a second, but I do want to. You did say something. You played baseball at a high level. You were a good baseball player. Now, do I? Maybe it's just me, but I really dislike people's hate for, especially Bonds, because before anything, he was the best player of baseball for forever before any accusations ever even came up. But the thing is I don't think people understand, like, you can get juiced up all you want, but there is still so much talent that it takes to put the bat on the ball consistently in the way that Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, all of those guys did.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
it is unbelievable. Even Roger Clemens, like, as a pitcher, like being able, like, having the ability to pitch and even locate the baseball is a lot harder than I think people realize. Like,
yeah.
it's not like you just get juiced up and you're like, oh, I'm an instant athlete. Like, it helped, but those guys were fantastic at their craft.
Too. Absolutely. And you got to think, like, if one comparison I always like to say to Barry Bonds, if you like watching Barry Bonds, watch Mike Trout. Just the fundamentals behind their gameplay. Like, Barry Bonds was fundamentally just perfect, and I think
Oh,
Mike Trout's the
his
same way,
swing,
just so
he had
perfect.
the most compact, short swing, and then just had the perfect, like, as soon as he was at the contact point, extended, like, and it was just, I mean, it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it was like a I don't even know. I really can't even
I
describe
mean,
it. Just
I
perfect.
nobody, I've never seen a swing where someone had faster hands than he did.
Oh, by far no. No, he could stand up on the plate and no
Oh,
what could
and that was the coolest thing to watch, and he knew it because, like, he knew he had fast hands, and that's why he started doing the Darth Vader elbow guard. Is he would get right up on there, and he's like, put it anywhere over the plate, and I will just. And he could pull the ball, but he was not all. He also was not afraid to just shoot it into the left center gap.
Hey, and the best thing about it though is he would take a walk.
Oh,
And
well, he'll take a walk with the bases loaded. Actually, he'll take an intentional walk.
those were intentional, but those were the fun days of
He he
baseball.
was
But
he was a he was definitely a Rocky killer for a little while. That's for damn sure. But
fun to
I
watch.
mean, heck, fun to watch. And I mean, shout out another giant, Jeff Kent. He did get in over the Todd father,
Did
which
he
that
get in?
kind of Jeff Kent got in. Yep,
I thought he got eliminated.
I thought he got in for some reason.
Let's double check that, buddy. I think he got
Maybe, yeah,
eliminated.
maybe check it. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking, or well, I know Scott Rowland got in. I don't know if Jeff got in, but I do
Scott
know.
Rowland's the one who got in. Yep.
Yep,
Scott
he was.
Rowland got
Okay,
in.
that's what I was thinking of then.
Yeah, he got
Oh
out. He
yeah,
got
because it
eliminated.
was.
It was his last one. His
Yep.
last one.
That's the one who I think a lot of people were saying he might get in because he
Just
won the 2000 NL MVP, which, as we know, Probably not should have went to him, but that's okay. I respect his mustache. He was a cool second baseman.
Good player,
Good
probably a good
player. I
guy.
mean, and the thing was, is that I think the 2000 season was that the one where they lost to the Angels. So they went to the World Series.
I gotta check the Carfax on that one, buddy.
I don't know. I just do you know what year I'm talking? You know what I'm talking about though. I
Yeah,
know the Giants play the Angels in the World Series with Jeff Kent because that was the year that the Angels had like Troy Gloss.
yeah, and like Tim Salmon and
Yep,
Jim
all
Edmonds.
the
Was he at the Cardinals on that year?
Jim Edmonds. I think was still on the. I think he was still with the Angels back then. Because that's when they did the Rally Monkeys.
Yeah.
I remember that, and it was back when what's his name was coaching the Giants still. Which shout out to Dusty Baker for still being in the game.
Yeah, no,
Remember his kid was like his kid was on the bench with him like during the World Series.
that's insane. Yeah. Ooh, I got his. I think I found his rookie card going through my cards too.
That's funny.
Like Dusty
I mean,
Baker.
we got no hope for the Rockies moving forward, but that's all right.
No, I mean British really crashed and burned the whole program or whole franchise, and the Mumfords are all for it. They're like, "Hey, crash our vehicle all you want, and we'll just hire a new guy to crash it."
Well, you and I have been saying we wanted the Montforts out for years.
Hey, they collect an insurance check every year. They make out like bandits, and don't get our guy Todd Helton enough support to get over that hump there.
Right? I mean, heck. What about what's Larry Walker up to these days? Speaking of old Rockies,
I don't know. I know he got in the Hall of Fame, but what has he been up to?
probably
Busy.
just hanging out in Canada, just living life. He's Canadian, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's from up north.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. I mean, heck, speaking of Canadians, we got to get the abs going, baby. We're struggling right now. Not looking like our old selves.
It started off tough. They had some injuries. You got to battle through those
Yeah,
things early
we'll
on.
get
And
back to it. But
exactly, those are the things that make you the playoff contender or the cup contender in the end.
you gotta grind through it. We'll
Yeah,
be
just
fine.
just like the Nuggets. Like think about the past few years. They've grinded through so much adversity,
Well,
and
not. I mean, if we
yeah,
don't put it together this year with the Nugs, I might have to give up because this team is. I mean, this is the first time I think I've ever watched NBA basketball, and I don't feel like a super team is like looming over anybody. Like you're not like, oh, okay, as soon as you get to the playoffs, this team like the Lakers, LeBron and like Anthony Davis will take you out. It's like, no, we have legitly we probably have. I mean, 2-time MVP, but people really don't give Jokic the respect I think he deserves because he plays such a fundamentally strong game. It's almost like he's boring. I mean, he puts up a triple double every other night. So everyone's like, I feel like people forget that that's like a stat that is absurd.
it's not flashy. It is
No,
the just like
it's lumbering and lethargic, and it's just, but it works, and it's crazy. I mean, he is
it's
so fun to watch, and I mean our bench is looking good now, and I truly think that Michael Malone, I think he's a great coach. He's perfect for our team because he's got a little bit of fire to him, which I think Denver didn't really have. We were always with Coach Carl, we were like, okay, but like
yeah,
Malone, I feel like is like, I'm laying a fire under your ass.
right. Yeah, and I don't know. I agree though. I think you said it right. This is probably the last year. If they don't do it this year, I don't know if they can. Like this is it
It's
gets
either.
harder. Pieces start shuffling, and
Yep,
this
exactly.
people
This
are
is
on
your
them.
one chance.
Yep, and I think they do it though. This seems like once again this year's the one where they can culminate all those injuries, all those tough years they've got knocked down the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Well,
Um,
and
because their
it's kind of
competition right now, I think it's kind of weak.
well, and I think with what we've like to your point with those injuries throughout the years, each player has had to take on a different role throughout that. And so through that, I think it's allowed, to our bench, it's allowed them to get more game time experience. It's allowed them to, be a little more I mean, experience is really the only word I can think of. Like
That's
they're having the ability to play against these guys, and when they get thrown in the game, it's no longer like, bright-eyed, oh my gosh, I'm playing against LeBron. It's like, I'm playing against LeBron, baby. Let's go. I'm knocking you down. Like, I got you. Which it's it's fun. It's fun to see. And I think you do see I mean, we're not I think in the past you've seen Nuggets teams that might not look afraid, but it's like, oh, we're going, we're playing Steph and Clay tonight, and we're, maybe we're not closing out as fast as we usually do, or something like that. But it's like we really are playing. I think the best way to put it is fearless.
Yeah. And that's kind of how we have to play. We have to be quick on the ball against teams like that, and just not overthink it, especially like last year. I think we overthought it in the playoffs versus Golden State. Just too much of that, like they pass shoot, and we were like, do we go for it or do we not? We were too off
Mm-hmm.
ball, and too much second guessing. And I think, like you said, we're not doing that this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we got a chance, but it's all about staying healthy and staying confident and staying focused.
Well, let's see. It is like I said, January 25th, so we'll know come June how we're looking.
Well, we'll have to circle back.
Yeah, we'll be circling back. But all right, man. I think we'll be good on this one for right now. All right.
Yeah, that's
I
all.
appreciate it. Let's
Yeah,
see.
get you.
I'll stop the recording now.